But speaking of AEW, before we go any further with the reviews of Backlash, Raw, and everything else that went on this last week, we had the news break on Wednesday with AEW that's starting in January of 2022. And there's a lot of details here, but we'll cover the basics. Dynamite's moving over to TBS from TNT, along with a new 1-hour show called Rampage on Friday nights at 10 p.m. Dynamite's still going to be on Wednesdays, still going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, just moving from TNT to TBS due to the NBA stuff and the NHL rights and whatever, them airing games over on TNT. It's just a lot easier. I don't know really what that means for the TNT title. Dave Meltzer said today or last night that it won't be rebranded. I mean, if it's not on the channel anymore, I'm not really sure why it wouldn't be, but I guess they'll address that when we get to it. But yeah, your thoughts, Mr. Marceau, on the move to TBS? I think it's more of a lateral move, if anything. It's not a bad thing. It's not a great thing. I think it does the same amount of viewers that shows on TNT do, so it's not going to make not much of a difference. But we are getting a new show finally. This is the second show they've been promising since early 2020, which it's about time. I mean, I'm sure they're still going to be doing Dark and Dark Elevation. I really couldn't give two shits about those shows, and as someone who watches them all just to review them, they're not really my cup of tea personally. But I think the second show on Fridays is well overdue because they have so much talent now. And it's coming up in August, so we still got a couple of months until it premieres. But yeah, they're doing Rampage on Fridays. So what are your thoughts, Mr. Marceau, on AEW's move to TBS next year and the debut of Rampage in August?
Like you said, I think the move to TBS, might be a little downgrade just because, TNT is kind of more known, it is obviously if you're watching TV at midnight, it's always movies and stuff. But I feel like it does have some association with sports, like you said, with the NBA and I guess now with NHL, now that they got the rights to that as well. I just feel and TNT is kind of it has action, so maybe that fits more of the standard wrestling or entertainment or sport vibe. But no, TBS is another big cable network as well, so I don't think it's that big. I think it is a slight drop just because when you think of TBS, think of Family Guy reruns. You don't really think of wrestling, but I think it's a decent move. Like you said, another big cable company. It's not like they're going to Pop TV or some random channel that no one holds. It's another big cable channel, so not a big deal on that one. But with the Rampage, it's going to be on TNT, so a big network. 10 o'clock on Friday is a little tough. I don't think that's the most premier time slot. I think to them, like I said earlier, they'll probably do better than the Friday night random reruns of older movies. So maybe that's how they're thinking of 10 o'clock. We can still get a good rating, which most places don't really air new content at 10 o'clock. So maybe that's their thought. But that's definitely for me going to be a tape thing and watch after the fact because I don't stay up that late normally, and two, I just wouldn't wait till 10 o'clock on a Friday to watch it.
Well, obviously, so they're doing it because SmackDown airs at 8 on Fridays. They don't want to go head-to-head with it. Why would they? It makes no sense. Especially with SmackDown being on, Fox and whatnot. It does over 2 million viewers most weeks. But if you had a choice, though, and again, I don't know too much about TV. I know 8 p.m. is prime time, obviously. But maybe I guess you just want to follow SmackDown and carry that momentum. And you're obviously not going head-to-head with 205 Live because who cares? But wouldn't you have done it at 7 p.m.? Do you think that makes more sense? Obviously, it's easier for us to watch because I don't really want to stay up at 10 p.m. to watch a show. But don't you think ideally 7 p.m. would be better? But again, I don't know if that really works out primetime-wise and whatever. I don't know if it would do better ratings at 7 than it would at 10.
I just think for 10 o'clock, it has a better chance of being, I guess, more successful just because I feel at 7 o'clock there is some newer stuff your local sport games, on the East Coast, usually start at 7 o'clock. So, that's a lot of stuff going on and, a lot of stuff. I just feel 7 o'clock's more, especially on a Friday, is more of a prime time of people doing other things. So maybe they're thinking, like I said, for 10 o'clock on any normal network, there's nothing new on at 10. So maybe they're hoping that if they have that time slot, they'll be the number one rated show at 10 in that slot. Even though it might not be amazing, it's still kind of the notoriety or kind of award of being the top rated. But besides that, I would say 7 o'clock seems better for most people. But their clientele's up at 10 o'clock normally, so that's probably why as well.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. In terms of days of the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, not even with NXT and other shows and whatever, but I guess it's just because they have sports games on those days, so I guess that's why they're going to Fridays, and maybe I guess Fridays are better than Saturdays as opposed to putting in like a Saturday night, which I think would be cool. Maybe that's why they're not doing it.